What's up, my beer bros? Maine-iac here with a new series that's going to be airing every Sunday until the end of the NBA season. So bear with me here. Um, I don't know how the format is going to work necessarily because it is episode one. So if you guys would like it changed to a best of three or a best of five situation, let me know. But right now it's going to be more of a shorter type of video with a quick run through of what I think these matchups would be like, who I think would win, do I think these would be entertaining matchups, stuff like that. Just kind of opinionated, based with like some facts, I should say. Not everything's going to be a fact. I do apologize. But the reason why I wanted to start the video this Sunday instead of last Sunday, obviously, is because every team has at least 4 or 5 games going in, and today will actually be the fifth game for some teams like the Thunder or stuff like that. And other than that, everybody has 5 games. Notable omissions from this so far from these standings right now are the Lakers in the West, currently the 11th seed. The Timberwolves currently tied with them, the 12th seed. The Houston Rockets, the 13th seed in the West right now. See, that's why it's incredible and why I wanted to do this, because obviously things are going to change. If I had to pick someone to drop out currently in the West, it would be Memphis and possibly the Clippers. But top wise, I love it. I love the Warriors at 1, Nuggets 2, Pelicans 3, Trailblazers 4. I love it, although I do think the Jazz would supplant the Portland Trailblazers. And I do understand currently for the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th seeds are tied at 3 and 2 in the West. But I'm just using the ESPN standings and how they have them sorted, so I do apologize if there's any confusion as to that. And with the East, notable omissions here would be, well, not necessarily any notable omissions necessarily. I guess the biggest one would be the Washington Wizards, currently sitting at 1 and 4. Currently, I believe, a full game out behind Charlotte. Other than that, Cleveland being 0 and 6, I believe they just fired Tyronn Lue. Another huge development in the young season. Another reason why I wanted to start this series. So, a little breakdown here. We have the Bucks as the kings of the East right now, currently 6 and 0, followed by Toronto, also currently 6 and 0 in the East. It's incredible. At number 3, we have the 4 and 1 Detroit Pistons, off to an incredible start. Faced a tough Boston Celtics team, and the Celtics beat them to take them from the ranks of the undefeated. And then at 4 and 5, you have the both teams are 4 and 2, the Pacers and the Celtics. That would be an incredible matchup. Then you have the Heat at 6, the Philadelphia 76ers at 7, and the Charlotte Hornets at 8. And in the West, you have the Golden State Warriors at 1, Denver Nuggets at 2, Pelicans at 3, Trailblazers at 4, San Antonio Spurs at 5, Memphis Grizzlies at 6, the Utah Jazz at 7, and the Clippers at 8. Now, the awesome thing about this is, with the teams at 8th and below, there's not necessarily any ties. I mean, statistically, I guess Charlotte, Brooklyn and Atlanta being 8th or 9th and 10th in the East, they are technically the same amount of games back of Milwaukee, but with Charlotte having 2 more games and a better winning percentage, they are slotted ahead. Now, as for this with the matchups here, I love it. I love some of them, I guess. Some of them not so much, like the Bucks Hornets, although it would be interesting to see Kemba Walker versus the Greek Freak. They don't defend each other. They don't obviously play directly against each other. Although it would be seeing them go blow for blow would be pretty entertaining. But I do think it'd be like Bucks in 5. And you have Pacers Celtics. I love this game series here. I love Jaylen Brown versus Oladipo. I would pick the Celtics here all day. I do not think it would be a sweep. I think it would be Celtics in roughly 5 or 6. You know, the Pistons Heat. I love this one. If the Heat were fully healthy, this one would be seriously entertaining. I would pick the Pistons in this one. I love what Drummond and Blake Griffin bring. I would pick them in 7. And then you have the Raptors Sixers. This one would be an incredible first round matchup, hugely entertaining. You have Kawhi Leonard versus Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. If I was the Philadelphia 76ers, obviously defensively, I would put Ben Simmons or Saric on Kawhi Leonard. Well, no, I would put Ben Simmons on Kawhi Leonard. You have Embiid to defend, I believe, Valanciunas on the inside, which you need his height to do that. And then you have Saric on Ibaka, which is also an incredible matchup. The underliers here would probably be if you switched a Ben Simmons to a Kawhi Leonard, or if you're comfortable with Covington defending him, that kind of puts like faults on Danny Green or Kyle Lowry. So it's just full of interesting matchups. I would pick right now the Raptors in 6, just because I feel like Kawhi Leonard is a different monster, but it would be so fun to watch. And then in the West, you'd have the Warriors sweeping the Clippers, Trailblazers, Spurs. If that one ended up being how it is, I would probably pick the Spurs in 6. And then Pelicans, Grizzlies, I'd pick the Pelicans in a sweep. Although I love the combo of Mirotic and Davis. If Davis leaves the Pelicans, I'd be sad. And then another star-studded matchup of the 2s and 7s, Nuggets Jazz, would be incredible. Jokic versus Gobert, Mitchell versus the rest of the Nuggets. And I don't mean the rest of the Nuggets as a slight. I mean this Nuggets team is solid all around. The depth is incredible on this team. They are one of the more underrated teams in the league still. I mean, a lot of people are starting to respect them more, but it's one of the teams, like the archetype of teams, I guess you could say, that I've loved for a while. Yes, Paul Millsap is a power forward who has had playoff success before. Well, not success, but he's had playoff appearances before. But this team is built on solidity, or at least how solid it is. It's built tough, physical. There's no like huge superstars besides Jokic, but they still gel together so well. This team is incredible. Honestly, right now, I would pick the Nuggets in a 7-game series over the Jazz. But anyway, let's see how this would roll out. I'm just gonna take control of my favorite Celtics here, just to see how it goes. And let's begin the playoffs, and let's see who the simulation would at least have going on. Now, I do apologize if my rambling was a little tedious or inconvenient, I guess. If you didn't enjoy it, I apologize. Honestly, if you're gonna critique in the comment section down below, be at least a little bit polite. If I talk too much, or if you want that first part to be shorter, just let me know. And like I said, if you want best of 3, best of 5, just for more variety, also let me know, because this is a work in progress. We're gonna simulate the current round, and we're gonna have CPU always adjust rotation, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, first round notes is the Spurs swept the Trailblazers, which is funny. The Clippers managed to take one from Golden State, which honestly I could see. Memphis held on a little bit against New Orleans, and Utah beat Denver in 6. That is interesting for sure. For the most part, it went the way I thought, except for Utah beating Denver. And then in the East, you have Boston over Indy. Like I said in 6, so having that is close. Charlotte beat Milwaukee in a 7-game series. That I did not see coming. And then you have Miami sweeping the Pistons and Toronto beating Philly in 6, exactly like I said. I think I said Toronto over Philly in 6. Oh, I guess biggest surprises here. There's no competition. Charlotte beating Milwaukee. Holy shit. I guess let's go next round here. Okay, not many surprises here. One reason why I didn't do the analysis, I guess I should say the second round matchups, is I don't really think any of these are worth noting, maybe besides New Orleans and Utah. But even then, I think the difference maker here for the Utah-New Orleans Pelicans, I will go over here now, is going to be guard play. Drew Holiday is really good. And I think this game is pretty even in the sense that Gobert can defend Anthony Davis, I think, well inside the paint. I think it's a good matchup here. it could go either way. I would say it would be a 7-game series, with the winner being whoever won the first game of the series. Just because I feel like this series right here, the New Orleans Utah, would be a back and forth where each team takes turns winning. I think it could be a good game. Other than that, Toronto, Miami, obviously, like I said before, Kawhi Leonard. Boston, Charlotte. Charlotte should have never beat Milwaukee in the first place. Boston overall is more talented. I do like the matchup of Kemba versus Kyrie. That does look interesting. But I will comment on the finals for each conference. You have Golden State versus Utah, and you have Toronto versus Boston. I should say 3 of these teams are teams that a lot of people have in the finals of each conference. Or at least a lot of people have the Toronto Raptors and Boston Celtics being the top 2 teams in the East. Or at least at the beginning of the season they did. I don't know if it's changed. You have the Warriors against the Jazz. By this point, DeMarcus Cousins should be healthy. He should be a good matchup for Gobert. I think overall Warriors win in 5. I think maybe the Jazz can steal 2, push it to 6 games, but I don't think the Jazz can push it to 7. And therefore, I don't think they can really win. And you have Toronto versus Boston. Can Jason Tatum guard Kawhi Leonard enough to keep the Celtics in this one? Maybe not. Maybe you put a Gordon Hayward on a Kawhi Leonard instead. But Kyle Lowry versus Kyrie Irving, Valanciunas against Horford and Baines, and these matchups are fun. Personally, I pick the Celtics in 7. I think this one would be a very, very, very intense, solid matchup here. I just think the depth of the Celtics is a little better than Toronto, and I would pick the coaching of Boston over instead. And I think coaching, especially in the NBA, can make a huge difference. Anyway, the Boston Celtics have been eliminated in 5 games. So I was wrong here according to the simulation. But as you can see, Golden State swept the Jazz. So Golden State swept the Spurs and the Jazz, but somehow the Clippers stole the game from them. A matchup of the Raptors versus the Warriors is, I think, one of the more popular finals picks this year. And if I had to pick this matchup, I'd go Warriors in 6. Just because I think Kawhi Leonard, especially how he played against the Warriors back when he was with the Spurs, before Pachulia put out a hit on him, I think he played well. Well, apparently not well enough, because I think the Warriors just steamrolled the Raptors. With the MVP being Steph Curry, 31 points per game. Holy shit. He averaged a double-double in the NBA Finals. That's pretty good. Anyway, guys, stuff like that's bound to happen. I am well aware that most of these simulations is probably going to end with the Warriors winning the championship. But who knows? You have upstarts in these, especially the Hornets, man. The Hornets going over the Bucks. Shit like that is why I do this. It's fun just to see how simulations work out. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you are new. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.